Hi guys, and welcome back. In this video I'll be showing you how to RDP from a local machine to the host machine. In this exercise I'll be using VirtualBox. I've got two virtual machines running. One is the Windows Server 2012 and the other one is the Windows 7. I'll call it Windows 7B. So if you go here to the tab, you can see both machines. So I'll open both of them. Let's get rid of this background. Now I have my Windows 7 machine over here. Let me log in. There you go. Now I am inside my Windows 7 machine. Now this desktop is the remote desktop. I will use my Windows Server 2012 as my local machine. So I want to use this computer to remote access this one. So the blue machine is sitting somewhere remotely and the black machine is the local machine. So how do I do that? First of all, I need to make sure that both machines are connected to the internet. So I do have internet connection on both machines. Now the next thing I will check is if my remote machine has the remote access enabled, right? So this computer has to be enabled. So how do I do it? I go to right click on the computer and then click on properties. We go to advanced settings. Okay, now if you look at the top right corner, there's a tab that says remote. In that tab you will see we have remote desktop. Now you click on the option that you want, and in this case it is on don't allow connection to this computer. So we want to allow connection, so we're going to go with the second option and then we apply and or okay. Now another thing we need to check for is our firewall, because sometimes the firewall can prevent us from accessing our PC remotely. So we will go to our search bar and type in firewall, and I'm gonna go into the firewall, and under advanced settings you will see we have inbound and outbound rules. So you're gonna click on inbound rules and then we're gonna search for a remote access. So we're gonna look for R, and there you go. We do have our remote desktop allowed. If it was not allowed, it would look this way. So you can disable it if you want to, but since it's already green, it shows that it was enabled. So we can enable that rule. So in this case it does allow for remote connection. So we are going to close out. On our remote desktop, we need to find out the IP address, because we have to know the IP address of this PC in order for us to connect to it. We go type in command we are going to type in ipconfig, and then you'll see a list of information there, but what's important is the IP address of the interface that connects the internet. I have two interfaces in this PC, so that's why it looks a little bit more congested. You might only have one adapter. I have two adapters plus other things, as you see down here. This is the adapter I'm concerned about, because this one I know it's for the local network, since this is my virtual environment, but this is the one I use to connect out to the internet, right? This is one way of finding out your IP address, and another way, which is a little bit long rounded, it's a long way to do it. You can right click here, open networks and settings, and then as you can see it says internet. This other adapter says no internet access, so we are interested in the one where there is internet connection. So you simply gonna click on that one, and then if you go to details you will see that we have the same IP address over there, but I prefer the ipconfig root it's quicker. Now that we know the IP address, we go to this machine over here, and we are going to look for the remote desktop connection. Okay, I already have it pinned on my start menu. However, if you don't see it on your start menu, you can simply search it, remote desktop connection, and you just click on it. It will open. Well, this is pretty much how it's going to look the first time you do it. I'm going to type in the IP address. Okay, 192.168.1.173. Well, it remembers my username because I have used this PC to connect to that remote desktop before, but in your case, this will be left blank. And when you press connect, it will ask for this name and password. You will see what I mean. So we go to next, we say go to connect, and now in your case, it will be like this since it does not know about this administrator. So I'm going to put in my administrator. Remember, this is the administrator of this computer, right? We need this guy's permission. So we're going to have to put his credentials here. So we're going to say administrator, and then the password of that administrator. And then we click OK. Oh, my bad. I typed in the wrong administrator. So it's the wrong spelling. Administrator 192. And then there you go. What's interesting to note is that when you log in remotely, the remote desktop will log off. So you can only have access to the PC locally or remotely, but you cannot have access both ways at the same time. So watch what happens if I try to log in to the remote computer. You will see that I do regain access. However, on the local side, it says your remote desktop session has been ended. Another user connected to the remote computer, so your connection was lost. See, so you will always have one PC having access to the desktop. Now, I want to also go through some features that this remote desktop client has. Is we have the display feature. Well, this allows you to change the size of the remote desktop on your local desktop. So if you wanted to fill the whole screen, you can go to the far end on the large mode, but I prefer to keep it here about 800 by 600 pixels. On the other side, on the local resources, you can give the remote machine access to your local printer and other resources. So for instance, here you can give it access to the local ports and drives. Okay, so I would like to give it access to the local C drive, meaning the C drive of my server machine, which is this C drive over here. I want to give it access to this machine C drive. So my remote machine will have access to this C drive. So let's close out and connect again. So we're going to connect and then put in the password and then yes, and there you go. We are logged out here remotely. On the remote desktop, we can only use the local machine to access that PC. So if I'm going to now maximize the screen, so this is what I see on my local machine. Yes, if you click on my computer, you'll see it says local C drive, but remember this is the remote PC C drive, so it's local, but it's on the remote and PC. Now this C on Win Server machine is our C drive over here. So what's inside here is actually the same as what's here. It's the same thing as this over here. So you can see we are sharing resources. So there's no need for me to go in and out between these two machines. I can just work on my remote desktop and I can still have access to the resources that I have locally. That's what some of the benefits of the remote desktop client. So there you go, folks. That's how you connect to a remote computer using RDP.